Southwest Houston.
Here's a live look at Galveston tonight. As you can see, this view is from the beach looking out over the Gulf right there. A live report from Galveston is coming up. And here's near the Beltway. This is in Southwest Houston. As you can see, the road is flooded there. We do have live team coverage for you tonight on areas impacted by Beta.
Let's begin with Frank, who has a closer look at what's hitting our area right now.
Yeah,
Frank?
I have two flash flood warnings. This one in Harris County, and it goes really from Katy all the way down to Bolivar. That's until 11:30, and then down to Wharton County, parts of Brazoria County, a flood warning until 1 a.m. So a couple on the board. Let's get to them. There's the reason why. You can see those training bands from Beta. They can really beef up, and this one has done that. It's really been fairly relentless since about 5 o'clock this afternoon. So that's why we have that flash flood warning. Again, you can see northern Galveston and then Harris County, Brazoria County to Fort Bend County and all the way to Katy. And we'll talk about that one down to the south in a moment. You can see there's that line of storms that has just come on and moved on in to the tune of 5 to 7 inches of rain across Friendswood and League City and Pearland. Pearland especially has had 7 solid inches of rain, 4 to 6 in southwestern Harris County toward northern part of Sugar Land. But you go north of I-10, a half an inch to an inch. It's one of those situations we talked about last night where a lot of people are getting the rain and some are getting nothing out of this deal. We're going to have to continue to watch for flooding. We have these 3 flood warnings so far, which really is 4 if you got Keegan's Bayou at Rourke and Keegan, and then Willow Waterhole at Lansdowne, and then Clear Creek at League City. And those are until further notice. All of those are at Bankville and have now topped. So if you're in those areas, watch out. The system down toward Wharton County into Brazoria County and a little bit of Matagorda, 3 to 5 inches of rain so far, 1 to 3 inches more is in the forecast. So the question is, when's this going to stop? I tell you what, it's going to be a while. This line that you see right here, that's that train. It was looking a little fizzly at one point, but now it is really solidified, and it wants to take that exact same path right into Harris County. Now there's a chance that this could go a little north, perhaps up more toward I-10 and miss the areas that have already been hit so hard, but I can't guarantee that. I think it's something we're going to have to stick with as we continue with our newscast and just watch it. You can see this line is rather sparse. It's gotten a little bit of gappy there, but it's still headed right toward that second flood warning. So that's why we're just going to have to watch those two. Yes, I do have the latest on Beta. 45-mile-an-hour winds, 60-mile-an-hour gusts, northwest at 3, and it's 5 miles from Port O'Connor. It has not yet made landfall. We talked about this at 6 o'clock. It looks like now the Hurricane Center wants to bring it on land and pretty quickly shoot it right off on Wednesday into the Gulf and then onto Louisiana as we head into Thursday. But look at that Tuesday. That's a 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm. I'm going to go closer up here. 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm Tuesday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. as it rounds this corner. And who knows, it may end up just going right along the coast. But it looks like, at least if you follow the track, that's going to continue to move into Galveston County and then right along this, really the Texas coast as we get into Wednesday. But this is going to be with us for a solid day tomorrow as a tropical storm with 40-mile-an-hour winds. And you can see tonight what 45-mile-an-hour winds have done. It doesn't take a lot to keep these feeder bands coming. And if you look at the HRRR FutureCast, whether they're feeder bands or just showers coming in, it's going to be wet right on through Tuesday and continues into Tuesday afternoon. This is Tuesday night, and then we get right on into Wednesday, and then finally, as we head into Wednesday, things begin to fade out of here a little bit. But rains through Wednesday for sure, with flood issues continuing. Turn around, don't drown. I'll have an update straight ahead. Dominique?
All right, Frank, thank you. Meantime, several districts have announced they will not have school tomorrow ahead of more weather expected from Tropical Storm Beta. We have a list on your screen right now. Those include Galveston, Matagorda, Texas City, and Dickinson ISD. We'll keep track of any more closures on our website. Click to Houston.com. The heavy rain causing flooding in parts of southwest Houston.
Channel 2's Keith Garvin is live in the area of Belfort near the Beltway. Keith, what are you seeing there tonight?
Yeah, well, Chris, Dominique, the rain just picked up, but the flooding at this intersection already is the story. Just let me step out of the way and give you a look. We're at the 10,400 block of West Belfort at the Beltway, not too far from Wilcrest. And take a look at this intersection. You see that one car, a small sedan with the flashing lights, already submerged, and you can see around it they were doing some traffic construction, some road construction in this area. You can see a lot of the barrels that are scattered around. Some are knocked over, but there are some that are standing straight up, and they were almost fully submerged. You see the car that's fully submerged, and then you move down the street just a little bit, and you see that black truck. Don't know if this was a driver who was driving down the road and got stuck and got out. There isn't anyone in that vehicle right now, but a truck that looks like to me to be a Chevy, perhaps, maybe a GMC, but it's almost submerged. The water certainly past the wheel well, almost up to the top of the bed. And you look down a little bit further, there's another vehicle with its lights on, and it isn't submerged, but it obviously has gotten stalled and cannot move any further. Now, I remember this particular intersection, this shopping centers over here, this area is prone for flooding. The Keegan's Bayou is not that far away, and I remember several years ago, the tax day floods. I knew exactly when our news desk was sending us over here, I knew exactly where we were going, because just a few years ago, this area flooded just as bad, if not worse, during the tax day floods. And so we came over here, and again, the same story. I think they're doing a lot of road construction here, so that likely contributed to some of the flooding. But my goodness, as you can see here, it's been a number of hours, just a day or so, and this is the result. Already vehicles submerged. There's also a food truck. Adrian, my photographer, you can get that food truck. They were slightly submerged a little while ago, but they were able to drive out of that. But this is the scene right here, again, Southwest Houston. This is the 10,400 block of West Belfort, right at the Beltway, and there are no cars that are going to be moving through this intersection anytime soon.
Yes, Keith, we remember that intersection vividly from previous storms. Stay where you are. Let us know if things change. It looks like the rain is intensifying there. Another part of our area that felt the effects of Beta early on is Galveston. Channel
2's Roseanne Aragon is speaking with people there about the flooded roads there tonight. Roseanne?
That's right. These are what conditions look like right now. Earlier, though, intermittent rain. You can see powerful winds that are causing these pronounced waves. You could see the strength of that wind and, of course, elevated tide. The city of Galveston has been getting ready. They're waiting for whatever comes. Wind, water, and Galveston natives dealing with Beta's soon arrival.
Non-stop flooding, regardless what it is, tropical storm, just anything like that in that nature, it's going to be some flooding, so we're used to it.
Rising water all over Galveston, at the coast, and in neighborhoods. Troy Hatter was just trying to see his parents.
Well, I thought I was going to be able to make it, but it's clearly black clouds everywhere.
The focus now, storm surge and localized flooding, while officials watch the bans.
If we get heavier rains, those drains aren't draining. We already got water in the streets, and we're just going to get more flooding.
At the coast, strong rip currents aren't stopping these sea lovers. Even a Pampa family loving the high tide.
Pretty awesome shells and, whatever else comes up on shore that,
They extended their stay for Beta.
I've always wanted to go to the beach. I've never been.
Water is here now, but nothing major yet.
We're just watching and waiting. Everybody needs to stay vigilant.
But many still say
20 years of actually seeing storms come in and out of here. I'm not worried about a tropical storm.
And officials say they are watching carefully the weather. They're asking Galveston residents to be ready, and many of them tell me they're okay. Reporting live from Galveston, Roseanne Aragon, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Okay, thank you, Roseanne. We are tracking every area being affected by the flash flooding right now. That's in effect right now.
Yes, our Jacob Rascone is joining us live. He's on Highway 6 heading toward the Stafford area. What are you seeing, Jacob?
Yeah, Christine and Chris, we're on our way to one of the many high water spots in Harris County near Stafford. Keegan's Bayou filling up fast. We'll have a look at the road here on Highway 6 on our way to Stafford. We want also to talk about where we were earlier today in Matagorda County. We've been headed to different high water spots today. In Sargent, where we were earlier today, many neighborhoods already had water on them. Many of the thousands of full-time and weekend residents there had already evacuated themselves, their boats, and their trailers. The bridge, the only bridge to an island there near Sargent, has already been shut down. Everybody there told that they have to stay on the island and will not have emergency services until at least 24 hours or longer. We talked to the constable there and the fire captain, who are monitoring everything, making sure that everybody who wanted to get out can get out, and anybody who needs help will get it.
With the saturated ground as it is now, the rainfall for 24 hours, and then the high tide, we're expecting some more flooding here.
But I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know. how this is all going to turn out when it's all over with.
Now, that woman you heard from owns a seafood restaurant right there on the Gulf that actually already had water in it when we got there. And she was, of course, disappointed and upset about that. She said it had happened before during Imelda, and it also happened, of course, during Harvey. But the real concern there in Matagorda County is high tide tonight at midnight. At the same time, the storm is expected to be there and stall there in the Matagorda County area. Of course, we will bring you a live report as soon as we get to wherever, to the Keegan's Bayou area and that high water spot where we're headed now. Chris and Dominique, back to you.
Jacob, thank you. Let us know when you get there. Meanwhile, a lot of our viewers are sharing video of the flooding across the Houston area. This video in particular, this is from Pearland, where they have received several inches of rain today. This is on FM 518 and O'Day Road, and you can see the water there is creeping up into the houses in that neighborhood right there.
And video into our newsroom right now, flooding in southwest Houston. Cars on the street, you can see right there on the sidewalk outside the fencing, just submerged in the water. This is on Court Glen and Bissonnet, not all that far from Channel 2. Heavy rain pounding the southwest Houston area tonight.
More video now, flooding again. This is on the southwest side of the city. This is near the Southwest Freeway in West Belfort. You can see cars submerged in water. You see that fire truck swinging by there. A heavy rain causing street flooding, as we have become accustomed to seeing in Houston, of course, during storms.
Belfort and the Beltway is where we last saw Keith Garvin, so that's a trouble spot. And Frank, the rain is just getting heavier in some spots.
You know, it's going to continue too. It's not going to let up anytime soon. This is a click-to pin out of Galveston. That's not a lake, that's the driveway.
Wow.
The street in front of the drive there, so, and there on the west end, so it's happening there too. All right, so flash flood warnings until 11:30. This one from Bolivar, northern Galveston County, continues toward the Katy area. Flash flood warning until 1 a.m. down there in Wharton County, because you've already had such heavy rains, and you're going to see even more. There's a look without all the warning boxes there, so you can get an idea of how relentless all of this was, especially in the dark reds. And I'm seeing some of that, at least for our area, begin to move to the north. I was talking about this maybe shifting a little north, and if that happens, then it looks like it will continue to glide to the north of where we've already had this heavier rain. So that hopefully will happen, so that will at least help and give you some chance to drain. So there's without the radar, the warnings until 1 and until 11:30. So we're going to have to just wait until this really rides it out. 11:30 seems like a pretty good solid time for that first one to finally begin to get out of here. But you see these rainfall amounts, and we're easily with these dark reds to 7 inches of rain, 6 and 7 inches of rain right there along the Harris County line with Fort Bend County and Brazoria, and then down to the south here in Brazoria County, also going right into Wharton, anywhere from 5 to 7 inches of rain there. So this has continued to be a problem. Keegan's Bayou in Rourke, as well as Keegan Road, under a flood warning until further notice. Willow Water Hole in Lansdowne, also a warning until further notice, in Clear Creek at League City. So all of those places are under the gun there. The 1 to 3 inches of rain in this area here for the flash flood warning until 1 has fallen, with 1 to 2 inches more expected. So you're going to start totaling up to 5, maybe even 6 inches in that spot there. And there's what has become a much more solid line trying to move into the northern part of Bolivar. And that's all I'm looking at. You see the southern part was getting it earlier, and now it's the northern part. So it gives me an idea that this whole line has at least shifted a little bit as it has continued to move on through. Beyond that, we're just going to have to wait until this system gets out of here on Wednesday, because it's going to have the power to obviously, and we've seen this, Imelda last year wasn't even a tropical storm until it came on land. And then it was upgraded to a 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm, and then it dropped 40 inches of rain in between Winnie and Beaumont, right in that area there. So these can be pretty deceiving sometimes, and we've had to deal with them a lot. And it looks like we're going to have to continue that right on through tomorrow. So as we look at all of this as a whole, I don't see that it's just suddenly going to go away. Now, the placement will be interesting. I know when you see that, you say, well, of course there's a flash flood watch. But the point is, it's through Tuesday evening. So that has not dropped just because we're getting so much now by any means. And these amounts we could see again tomorrow, and even more so. I mean, we've forecasted 5 to 7 basically from I-10 south, if you were watching, and 10 to 15 isolated. It looks like that's what's going to happen certainly tonight. The problem with Galveston is a 2 to 4 foot storm surge, and that high tide tonight is right about midnight. I know there are crazy tides. They're all different times around the bay. but generally it's tonight to about midnight. So you get that higher tide and storm surge trying to come in, and then the rains that do fall, you just can't get rid of those. Right now, Galveston's at 82, east-southeast winds at 16. Here in southwest Houston, you can see the cars are slow because of the heavy rain out there. 75 degrees, northeast winds there at 16. So everybody's pretty much in the low 70s. We have a few upper 70s down toward Pearland and Angleton. Galveston still at 82. Everyone's getting that north wind because of beta down to the south of us. Some wind gusts to 23, 28. All along we said this is not a windstorm, and it really isn't. As we track it, 45-mile-an-hour winds gusting to 60. I mentioned earlier it's only moving northwest at 3 miles an hour, and it's 5 miles from Port O'Connor. So I guess between now and midnight it would make an official landfall. I just don't know how long it's going to stay on land. The National Hurricane Center really pulls it to the right very quickly, and then back across Galveston Island and then on into Louisiana and in Mississippi by Thursday. My concern is that through the day tomorrow it remains a 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm, so it still has good circulation with it. You look at the spaghetti models, they're anywhere from north of Houston to right out into the Gulf. That pink one's kind of interesting. That's the UK, the United Kingdom, wants to pull it along here. The best one that the Hurricane Center goes with is that TVCN. That's the consensus model. That's pretty much exactly what their track says. It comes inland just a little bit past Matagorda Bay, and then it starts to move right across the coastal counties, across Galveston Bay and Beaumont, and then continues on into Louisiana through Wednesday into Thursday. The RPM Futurecast, I showed you the HRRR at the top of the show. The RPM isn't significantly different, and you can see it pulls in feeder bands just like we are seeing as this continues to scoot along. This is tomorrow morning at 7:45, continues to pull on through as we get into Tuesday at 6:30, and then we're not really going to get done with it until that's Wednesday at 5:15 in the morning. Finally, when we get to Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening, this begins to pull on out of here. But until then, we're going to have to deal with that. The reason is this high pressure. That's what's been pushing it slowly along. And now that high has collapsed. It just has no steering currents at all. So that storm is just sitting there. Feasibly, it could just really never even make a landfall. I mean, I'd end up in Matagorda Bay and just sit there for the day tomorrow before it starts to move across. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. The bottom line for us is, until it gets picked up by the jet stream on Wednesday, it's going to be ours, I'm afraid. So that's what we're going to have to face. Power planner, a lot of rain out there, as you know, 70% for tomorrow from 6 a.m. all the way through. Not everybody's getting rain. Some people out there that are watching us right now haven't had a drop, especially if you're out to the west or up to the north. But I'd look for chances of rain pretty good, really for everybody tomorrow as that storm continues to move up the coast. It's going to pull that much moisture back on land. Wednesday's 50% primarily for the morning and early afternoon. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we get a dry out with a 20% chance on Sunday with this first front. That's not going to be the real cold front, but the cold front comes through the following Tuesday. We're in the 80s, 80 degrees, 64 to 66 for lows. So at least we have that to look forward to. We got to get through, obviously, the next 24 to 36 hours before any of that gets here. Chris?
No doubt. Thank you, Frank. And you can also track this storm, don't forget, by downloading our free Hurricane Tracker app. Just search KPRC in the App Store. And as we leave you heading into this break, we want to show you one more live picture again. This is on the southwest side of the city. This is Belfort near the Beltway, and you can see several cars are submerged in that area. This is a known trouble spot. Whenever rain comes in, our Keith Garvin is there, and we'll check in with him on the backside of this quick break. Stay with us.
skirts the shoreline, has not made it on shore. Last that we saw, it was about 5 miles from Port O'Connor. This is Galveston, and you can see a little bit of a surf there, but really this is more of a high water issue than a wind issue, and you will see that as we start making some trips around town.
Let's go back now to Channel 2's Keith Garvin. Again, he's live in that area of Belfort near the Southwest Freeway. Keith?
Hey there, that's right, Chris Dominique. This intersection is well known for flooding, very prone to flooding, but it's a different thing when you see it time and time again. Let me step out of the way and show you this area here, just a mess. Again, we're at the 10,400 block of West Belfort, right off the Southwest Freeway, not too far from Willcrest. And we just had a vehicle come from down that street and make its way through all of this water. The water was up to the hood of that vehicle. We were trying to figure out exactly what that individual was doing. They made it through because it was a tow truck. Oh, I think it's this tow truck coming back this way right here, Adrian. And so you can see this tow truck. This is not advised. I don't know if it's advised for any type of vehicle to go through, but this individual came from the other direction and he's in that tow truck. And actually at this point he has stopped, maybe getting into position to tow away some of these other vehicles, because here at this intersection, there are about 3 vehicles that are submerged. He's saying something to another crew across the street. Maybe he decided it was best for him to turn around and not try to make it. But, you know, it's amazing to see the amount of traffic that is out here with all the rain. You know, it is 10 o'clock in Houston, and so there is going to be a lot of traffic. But you can see a lot of vehicles still trying to make their way through this intersection in this area. And again, it's very well known to be a flood zone. And as a matter of fact, about a block away when we were making our way to this particular intersection, there is another shopping center and another, there's a car lot, there's a car dealership that is just north of here, and it has several of its cars that are submerged. And so this area here, this intersection, and there goes this the tow truck drivers going by, and you know, again, they have the vehicles that can get them through some of this water some of the way, but obviously he made a decision to go ahead and turn around. And a lot of tow truck drivers out here because they're going to get a lot of work tonight and over the next few days, because if you take a look, you can see in front of that McDonald's, there is that one submerged vehicle with its lights on. Don't know how long it's been there. We got here probably about 20 or so minutes ago. It was already here. Then you can see that there's a truck just a little bit past that on the left-hand side of the road. That has been sitting there submerged since we got here. And we don't know if this was a surprise to a lot of folks, because we have seen several people walking down this street and leaving. We saw some folks leave the McDonald's and maybe they were at work when things started getting bad and they got stuck inside, but they decided to walk out. There was a young woman who was right behind us shortly, a little while ago, right after the newscast began, and she was a worker. There's a nearby hotel here, and I think she may be a part of the cleaning crew, and she was standing here waiting for someone in her family or a friend to come pick her up, because they couldn't make it over to where they normally go to pick her up. You see there's a gentleman walking in this shopping center in this parking lot. I don't know if he's an employee or a business owner, but there is amazingly a little bit of traffic out here. There are people who we assume work here, but this is, even though it's a very flood-prone intersection, and again, every single year when there's bad flooding across the region, this seems to be an area that we can often see flooding and often find flooding, and it's living up to its billing of not being the greatest place for rain and for flooding. And there's one of the tow trucks that's coming in the area, because again, tonight and over the next few days, they are going to be getting a lot of business because there are a lot of submerged vehicles. If you look over just to the side in this parking lot, you can see another vehicle that has water up to its wheels. You can see that black SUV on the other side of the sign there. That driver came from the other side of the road and somehow made it through, but they decided to go ahead and park, and they're not going anywhere right now. Oh, we have another vehicle. There's a small vehicle right here that just now is trying to make it through past this intersection, and now hitting reverse and trying to back up, because folks, it just makes no sense to try to drive down a road that has this much water. And thankfully, there looks like so far they are backing up, and they're making it out so far. But I mean, I have to imagine that must somewhat be a desperate situation, at least a little desperate, because you don't know exactly what's going to happen. So thankfully, okay, that driver made it back to to water that wasn't as high, and they are going to do the smart thing, and they're going to go ahead and turn around. But my goodness, we say, sometimes it feels like we're a broken record, but we have to say it over and over again because there are so many people who just don't listen. Turn around, don't drown. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to put your life at risk because you need to get somewhere. Now, hopefully you can find if you're on your way to work, you have bosses who are going to be understanding and realize that, it's pretty hectic out here. But I mean, that's a pretty small car. I want to say looks like it's some type of Nissan. And, it doesn't look like it's a vehicle that's built for off-roading, to say the least. And there are even, unless you have a really great vehicle that was built for off-roading and you have some extra, money put into a kit or a package, it just doesn't make sense to try to drive down any of these roads because you're going to wind up like you see these vehicles that are here that are submerged right now. And again, this is an intersection in an area that is known for flooding each and every single year, but people still get caught. And again, we can understand people needing to get places on time, and you think you can make it. But obviously, as you can see here, we have several cars that are in this intersection that are down this road. Those drivers weren't able to make it. As far as we can tell, everyone did get out safely. And so at least we're not dealing with any injuries. There is that one vehicle, if you can see with its lights on, it's a black vehicle. Those lights are still on. Don't know if anyone is inside of that vehicle, but we haven't seen any movement or any activity. So I am hoping and praying that there isn't anyone inside, that those folks got out safely, but we're certainly going to let you know. But that's the situation here in Southwest Houston again. We're at West Belfort, right at the Southwest Freeway. Rain still coming down pretty heavily and a lot of traffic here, but hopefully people can make it home, make it to a safe place, and stay where they are. Chris, Dominique, back to you.
Hey, Keith, before you go, one of the things that Dominique and I noticed and you hit on was the construction signs around the area where you are. Has that area been under construction for a while, and do you think that is potentially impacting the way water drains in that area?
Yeah, Chris, you bring up a good point. You can see we have there's some barrels, and actually if you see the car with the flashing lights and you look a little bit behind it, you can see that there's a normal sized barrel that is almost submerged, and there are several other of these traffic barrels that are halfway submerged, or have water up to at least halfway of where they are from the ground. And you see there is a end road work sign, and there are other barriers. And so I know they've done a lot of construction on this road and in this area over a number of years. As a matter of fact, we've come here before, tax day floods, other flooding events, where it seems like they're always doing construction, and some of that construction may be being done to alleviate the flood concerns. But yes, so you can see there's an arrow, a traffic sign, putting people in another lane, and so this road does appear to have been under construction at this point. And yes, I would imagine that the road construction does have something to do with the flooding. We don't know how long it's been under construction, but I can tell you they've done work here on this roadway quite a few times over the years, and we've done stories before, and that construction does play a role oftentimes in the flooding that happens here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think too, and I don't know about you, but I've certainly noticed an increase in construction projects around town, especially this year, probably because of COVID and the fact that people have not been out on the roads. The crews in the city have taken advantage of fewer drivers out there to be able to accelerate some of these projects. Keith, also another thing, an issue I think in your area is that when you see high water like that and you don't have perspective, meaning you don't have a driver going through it, you can't see how deep that water is. And so you may see it from a distance and think, oh, maybe it's 6, 8, 12 inches of water there, and you don't realize until you get too far because you have no way to judge how high that water is.
It's pretty much a guess.
Right.
Yep.
And it's pretty much a guess, and why would you want to guess with your safety?
Exactly, and it happens all too often. I mean, we see it, just like we saw in your live shot not that long ago, that Nissan trying to drive through, and we all just sort of caught our breath thinking, someone who's going to get stuck right here during a live shot.
If you remember too that I believe it's the 12 inches, so the size of a ruler, that much water can sweep a vehicle off the road.
Correct.
Right, I mean, that's what the National Weather Service will tell you. And so when you see a high profile vehicle like that truck and that's behind behind Keith there that's submerged in water. You know how deep that water is, right? And then you look over and you see that smaller car, and here comes a Jeep going through that same area too. You just wonder why people would even risk it.
Sure, and that 12 inches of water will total the vehicle.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, that was a Hummer, and so when you're in a high-profile vehicle and one that may have a four-wheel drive, it may make you a little more confident, but yeah, you just never know. And so why take the chance? Why put yourself at risk? And then if you get stuck, you may have to have first responders come out, and then you're putting them at risk as well. It just doesn't make sense. Again, we'll say it over and over again: turn around, don't drown. It just doesn't make sense for you to try those waters for sure.
Yep. Keith, I see a McDonald's behind you, so obviously there are some late night shift workers. Anything else where people might be there and stuck tonight?
Yeah, there's a gas. If I look directly across the street on the other side of the Southwest Freeway, there's a gas station. There are cars there. It is still open. We come over here on this side. There are several people walking through this shopping center. There's a Crazy Bull. I don't know exactly what that is. Maybe it's a nightclub or a restaurant, perhaps. Those lights are still on, and there are vehicles inside of this parking lot. And when I mentioned to you earlier, when we first got over here, we did see a couple of groups of people. One group as large as 6 or 7 people who were all walking out and leaving together, and they appear to be working employees in one of these businesses around here. There are a couple shopping centers at this intersection, and there's a hotel that's just south of here, also a car dealership, and also another business, another shopping center. And so there are people who are who were here, and again, we saw another woman who was right behind us when we first got here, and she had just gotten done with work, and she was waiting on someone to come pick her up, but they couldn't make it to where they normally pick her up because of the intersection was blocked because of the rain and because of the flood water. So it's still a fairly busy intersection. We've been here now for probably about 35 or 40 minutes, and traffic keeps coming through. So it's a pretty busy intersection, and there are that's not a Chick-fil-A. There's another restaurant, maybe a Jack in the Box, that is across the street that appears to still be open. This McDonald's, which we did see some people come out of probably 30 minutes ago, it does appear to be closed right now.
Hey, Keith, well, we're getting word now that Mayor Turner is going to join us live real quick. Keith, stay where you are, though, because we do want to check back in with you. But Mayor Turner, can you hear us? We believe that you are joining us via a Zoom call. What are you telling people in the city of Houston right now? What are you being made aware of that we may not know about? Well, let's see if we can work out our audio issues here. Mayor Turner, stand by for us. Help me out in the control room. Can we get the
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
There
Go ahead,
you are.
sir.
Okay. The amount of rain is decreasing from the earlier part of the evening, which is a good sign. So things are starting to flatten out. Where Keith is now, right behind those buildings, is Keegan's Bayou. And Keegan's Bayou is the one bayou where the water has come out of its banks. And that's the primary reason why you're seeing that water right there at West Belfort and 59. We're watching very closely that Willow Water Hose area, which is the Westbury community. And so hopefully the water can stay within its banks there. There's some street flooding, but we're not getting any reports other than one call to 311 about structural flooding. So we think things the rainfall will lessen between now and let's say 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And then we have to watch these additional rain bands that will be coming in the area, possibly trailing over the same area in Southwest Houston. So hopefully it won't, let's say, increase the amount of rainfall where the water will be coming out of its bank. So we're going to be in this situation for the next 24 hours. So we just have to be very weather alert, weather aware, and please do not drive through the rain, through that water. You don't know how deep it is. Better to turn around than to get stalled or to drown in it. So don't drive through water. And if you don't have to be out at night, please get off the road and be safe at home.
Mayor Turner, you've been through these things far too many times, I know. As you know, these storms are so unpredictable. They can move one way and then change course.
Yes.
So tell me about the things that you and your office and Harris County is doing to prepare for overnight and tomorrow.
In fact, I just got off the phone talking with Judge Hidalgo. She's at TransStar, and I'm over here at OEM with my team. Every storm is different. This is a tropical storm. It's not a hurricane, but nonetheless, this is going to be a rainy event and not so much a wind event. And these bands will come in. They'll come and go until this storm makes this turn and go east and clears our area. We just have to be very much weather alert. What's further hampering our efforts is because you have the storm surge along the Texas coast. That is slowing down the water, leaving the bayous and getting out into the Gulf. And so until conditions improve, let's say tomorrow night, going into Wednesday, we're just going to have to watch conditions very carefully. Hopefully these rain bands will give us a break. But if these rain bands come in and let's say they start dropping 2 to 3 inches of rain in an hour or the same area, then it can cause some of these the water to exceed these bayous, and then you can have street flooding, and in some cases you can have structural flooding. It seems as though tonight we're going to fare okay in terms of the structural flooding, and then we'll just have to go through all of this again starting in the morning.
Mayor Turner, you say tonight it appears that we're going to fare okay, but as you look at the radar, and our Chief Meteorologist Frank Billingsley is predicting that these basically kind of these training showers, one behind another. Talk to us about your concerns moving forward over the next 24 hours.
Well, the concern is that right now you have, like, Keegan has exceeded the waters outside of its banks. In terms of Brace Bayou, things are kind of high. We're taking a look. We're being very mindful of what's happening at Willow Waterholes. And so we're hoping that we'll get a break between now, for example, and in the morning around 6 o'clock, and the water will start to recede a little bit. And then we'll have to go through this process all over again. This storm, until it clears, we're going to be dealing with one rain band after another. And the question is, how much do we get from each one of these rain bands, whether or not we're going to have a break in between, whether or not the system will move out such that the water can clear these bayous and go into the Gulf. It's a tropical storm, and it's a rain event, and it just depends on how much rain we get in a short period of time, and whether or not we're going to have enough room in between the bands for the water to recede. We'll just have to allow Mother Nature to run its course. In the meantime, we simply have to be very weather aware, weather alert, and stay off the roads where possible, especially at night when it's very difficult to see just how deep that water is.
Okay, Mayor Turner, I assume you're in touch with Jeff Lindner and
Yes.
and finding out about the bayous, and you talked about Keegan's, and you mentioned that for the most part our bayous are doing okay, and he
Yes.
concurs with that as well.
Yeah, we on the south side of town, southwest, that's where the conditions are the most precarious. In the other parts of the city of Houston, on the north side, we're relatively fine. These bands are coming in from the coast, and in many cases they're kind of going southwest down Pearland area, Sugarland area, and then over southwest and dropping that water. So between now and in the morning, let's say 5:30, we think that they will continue to trail way to our south. Then the rain bands may break away and then start coming back north, coming back into the Houston area. That's when we'll have to watch the situation very, very carefully. And so I would say starting again, let's say 5 o'clock in the morning, 6, 7, all throughout the day tomorrow, we have to be very, very watchful of the conditions and see how much rain is falling over what period of time and over what area. So we'll be in this situation for a while until we get to Wednesday and the situation starting to get better.
Yep, as we always hope for these things to pick up speed and to get on out of here. The worst thing is always a stalled storm. So we have our fingers crossed. We appreciate your time with us tonight. Chris, I think you have one more question.
Mayor Turner, before you go, we know that you are joining us live from the OEM. For our viewers, that's the Office of Emergency Management. Kind of take us, peel back the curtain, if you will. Tell us who who goes into that room with you? What exactly are you guys doing? Are you monitoring the radar? Who are you speaking with? Kind of walk us through what you do there tonight.
All of the above. We've got representatives from about 23 departments that are here. Chief Pena's here, people from HPD. Kara Haddock, Director of Public Works, is with me. We've got my whole command staff. Chief Bunick, who's the chief of the Office of Emergency Management, is here. So we've got the whole team. We've got our radar screens, and so we can look at almost every bayou throughout the city of Houston. We are constantly in contact with the National Weather Service, getting up-to-date reports. We're in constant communication with the county, with those who are at TransStar, and so it's a very coordinated effort. We recognize that these storms can change on a dime. Quite frankly, conditions can change in a hurry, and so we are in constant communication. And we've got our communications teams here, because what's important is providing people with information, accurate information in real time, as quickly as we can get it out there, so people can respond accordingly. What we don't want to see is, for example, people to be at their homes thinking everything is fine, and all of a sudden they look up and water is coming into their homes. And so we kind of look and see where the bayous are. We're talking to all of the National Weather Service people to kind of get some idea of how much rain is being carried in each one of these rain bands and where they're going, how much that they will drop. And then based on that, we try to alert people as to what the conditions are on the ground. We also have our firefighters, police officers, and people from Public Works out in many of these bayous to put their eyes on the systems in real time.
Mayor, as we're listening to you, we have an image of you in a box and another image, which is a live shot of what's going on. And of course, we're seeing flooded water, but we're also seeing a group of people sort of wading in it and swimming in it. Talk about the dangers of that. I mean, that is risky behavior.
Well, it's risky behavior. Number one, you don't know what's in those waters. That's number one. Bear in mind that now we're dealing with these weather systems in the midst of COVID-19. Okay, so you have to still be mindful of that. The virus hasn't gone anywhere just because Tropical Storm Beta is in the area. I saw some of the cars at West Belford for 59 driving through high water, and then having to back up and then turn around. That's something you don't want to do. I'm going to assume those people are not from Houston, because Houstonians know that we don't drive through water like that. We turn around, we don't drown, we don't get stalled, especially at nighttime when you're not able to see. So let me just say the best thing that you can do in this situation is to exercise the greatest degree of caution, especially at nighttime. If you don't have to be out there on the roads, don't be on the roads. Stay home, be safe. Let us kind of watch the things for you. But just exercise caution. Exercise good, basic, common sense. And these weather conditions can change very quickly. Rain can fall very, very quickly. The water can come out the bayous very quickly, and before you know it, the water is out of the bayous. And just like on West Belford, it can quickly be in the streets, if not in people's homes.
That's right. Mayor, I know you have a lot of work to do tonight. Before we say goodbye, just quickly, have there been any high water rescues in terms of vehicles? I know you said there was only one structure that flooded, but we're seeing a lot of cars flooded.
Right. I've gotten a report, I think, from HPD. The last report I got was about 16 or so. It could be, and that was about an hour or so ago. So It could be more than that at this point in time. And again, it's another reminder that you think your car can get through that water, but in many cases it simply cannot. And then, our police officers, firefighters, first responders, and others would have to come and do the rescue. So, those are things that are avoidable. Unless you just have to be out there, especially between now and in the morning. Don't get out there, especially in the southern part of Houston, Harris County, in Southwest Houston. If you don't have to be on the road, please don't help us out, and just stay at home and be safe.
Great words of advice. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, live via Zoom from Harris County Office of Emergency Management. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Be safe, okay?
Thank you.
You too. Thank you, sir. Let's go live now to our Jacob Rasco. And Jacob is not far from that area where Keith is on the southwest part of town. Jacob, what are you seeing? Oh, look at that. Just a lot of water there behind you.
Yeah, Yeah, you guys, last time we talked, we were driving on our way to high water spot, and this is it. So this stretches for a long time. We've seen at least a couple of tow trucks with sedans on the back already leaving. You can see one stalled there. I've counted at least a few more. And I mean, this goes on for a couple of blocks here. Thankfully, we're at the point where they've already put up now some roadblocks, as you can see here, so that people don't drive in here. I mean, this is deep enough that not just a sedan, but an SUV would get stuck. Even the big trucks are going around. And we came from Matagorda County, where they're worried about a different kind of flooding there. They have flooding in the neighborhoods from the storm surge. But here, this is what we find. Thankfully, on our way here, we didn't actually see a lot of flooding on most of the streets. But then every once in a while, as we'll show you again, you get spots like this that stretch for blocks. And then several blocks away is where Keith was. And so you just hope that you're not the first one that's there and you think that it's shallow and you go in. Thankfully, as we said, they've got the roadblocks up here. At least 3 or 4 cars that were stalled out. Tow trucks coming and going now, just taking those cars away. You know, what a bad night for all of those people who knows, didn't see it, maybe saw it, didn't think it was so deep. This is the worst case scenario for them, and it happened. And we just hope it doesn't happen to more people. Chris and Dominique, back to you.
Okay, Jacob, thank you very much.
That's right. Let's go back now to Keith Garvin. Keith, as we toss to you, we now know, according to Mayor Turner, that it's Keegan's Bayou is back behind where you are. And because that water has spilled out of its banks, it's now in the roadway there behind you.
Yes, yeah, we knew that was Keegan's Bayou. We actually drove across Keegan's Bayou to make it to the location we're at. And right as we passed it, that's where that car dealership that I mentioned to you earlier is at, in another shopping center where cars are submerged. But again, we're here at the 10,400 block of West Belfort, right at the Southwest Freeway. And, you know, we're getting that rain in waves. Sometimes it picks up really heavy. Sometimes it goes away altogether, kicks back up a little bit. But the rain right here is not the story. Take a look. The flooding is the story, where this entire intersection and the parking lots of a couple of shopping centers are submerged. And you see several vehicles that are here in the middle of the road that have been submerged for quite some time. And you all saw this when you were talking to Mayor Turner. Kind of a weird, bizarre scene. There were about 3 young ladies. They look to be about teenagers. I have 4 daughters, so I'm fairly decent at telling ages. They looked to be teenagers, and they kind of just. I thought that first silver vehicle with the flashing lights. They walked up to that vehicle and opened the door, and I was thinking, okay, maybe they're the owner. One of them is the owner of the vehicle, and they opened it and looked like they retrieved something. And then they started walking down the road through the middle of the water. And then they made it to another vehicle just down the road, and they opened that door. So don't know exactly what's going on there. They have walked all the way down the street in that water, and they are now gone. But, you know, it just doesn't make any sense to, you know, the mayor was even mentioning, it doesn't make any sense to walk or drive down any roads when they are submerged like this. And Adrian, if we want to pan back over here, and you see to our right, you see the people there at the check cashier's place. Another couple of individuals who are out here, they look to be possibly workers, or maybe they were the ones who were working in that food truck right there. When we first got here, the food truck was partially submerged in the water. They were able to pull it up a little bit and get it out of the water, and those folks have sought shelter. I don't know if they've been actually inside the truck or if they've been inside one of those businesses, but it appears that they are out here trying to survey the damage. But we still, every now and then, have other vehicles who have, you know, they come down this feeder road on the Southwest Freeway, and it looks like they want to turn, and they see the water and realize that is not the wisest thing to do. And so sometimes they get, you know, a little bit down the road and have to do a U-turn or back up altogether. But, you know, this is a very flood-prone area. We've, again, as we've mentioned, have been here many times over the years when there is flooding. And as you can see, the traffic signs and some of the traffic barrels, this is an area, this is a road where they were doing some construction. Not exactly how long they've been doing that construction, don't know how long it's been, but oftentimes that type of construction can contribute to flooding. And obviously, Houston continues to have issues with flooding in some areas more than others. But right now, as that moisture trains from the Gulf onto the shore here, onto the land, we get these waves of heavy rain. Then it lightens up a little bit. At this point, pretty much we are getting some sprinkles, but doesn't feel to be too bad. So right now we're kind of experiencing one of those light periods of rain. But this area is still kind of busy. If you see Adrian, shoot down there, there's a Dairy Queen, where the Dairy Queen is, and there's a truck. There is a truck that just drove down this roadway from the other direction, and it's a high-profile vehicle. He just put some of his other lights on, and he drove by us a little earlier, and he has pretty high wheels, and so obviously he's going to feel pretty confident. Don't know exactly what he is doing, but he's kind of driving around and surveying things down the road, down here on West Belfort, and just kind of surveying the area. But you can see just in front of him is another vehicle with its lights on that has been submerged and stuck there since the time we got here. And we now have probably been here for about 55 minutes or an hour. And that car has its lights on, not its hazards, but the lights are on, but pretty sure there isn't anyone inside because there hasn't been any activity other than the young ladies when they walked up to that vehicle and peered inside and opened the door. So I don't think there were any individuals inside that vehicle. But a couple of vehicles here stranded, submerged in the middle of West Belfort right here at Southwest Freeway. And we continue to see traffic in the area. I mean, it is Houston, fourth, maybe third largest city. We'll find out in a couple of weeks or months in the entire country. So, of course, even at 10:45, 11 o'clock at night, there's going to be a certain level of traffic. But you would think that with the bad weather and the flooding, that this area, maybe the traffic would have died down a little bit. But we still see people continuing to come by this intersection. And as I said, every now and then, testing this intersection and sometimes thinking they're going to be able to make their way down this road, they haven't been able to do it. So that's the situation here. Again, we knew this area was going to flood, and sure enough, as it does almost every single year, every time we have a major flood, major rain event, this area does see a lot of flooding. Hopefully people stay home, and hopefully people, when they turn, oh, hey, Adrian, oh, here we go. We got a car right here coming, trying to make its way. It looks like it's a small SUV, driving at a high rate of speed. Maybe they think that if the faster they drive, the quicker they'll get through. They are making their way through. Let's see how this goes. They're still moving. Don't know how much engine power they actually have right now. Engine may, and now they're slowing down quite a bit. And folks, this is not what anyone needs to do. It looks like they stalled. Looks like he stalled. Yeah, they're floating now. Yeah, they're floating. Yeah, their engine is stalled. They came around the corner off this feeder road. And came down the road and going at a pretty decent rate of speed, and maybe they thought if they drove fast enough they could get through it, but that's the result. That is what can likely happen if you're going to try to test these roads with this amount of water. That car was moving just fine, but as soon as it got into the thick of it,
I can't believe
it is now stalled, and there is an individual in there, maybe more than one individual who was in that vehicle. And now they're going to have to wade their way out or possibly get rescued.
Look, we saw some high-profile vehicles try to make it through that water. This one came around the corner. It's the size of a roller skate, trying to barrel through the water, maybe trying to get, thinking that, hey, if I got enough speed, I'm going to make it through there. And then he just started to float. And
it's incredible because you can clearly see around you. I mean, look, just to the left of that car, you see a car that's stuck. Right where Keith is, you can see vehicles that are stuck. So, I mean, you're aware that there are vehicles in a perilous situation there, and now we just saw this person drive right into it.
We're going to stay with this.
Car.
Yeah, we were going to stay with this shot, Keith, because we want to see if this driver, if this motorist is going to get out and ask for help, or get out and scratch his head.
I see some movement.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, on the driver's side. On the driver's side, I see a little bit of movement, but as you mentioned, right to the left of the vehicle is a truck, which is a lot bigger than this. This looks to be, an SUV or a small SUV, and so it's
Here we
it's
go.
not a super truck. Now they're getting out. And,
I wonder if you can flag them over.
Baseball hat. We'll try it. Yeah,
are you wireless, or are you connected
he's trying to throw on his hazards. I am, but it's pretty thick.
whoa.
The water's pretty deep where I am, so I'm gonna see if he can come to us. I don't know what it looks like on TV, but we're not super close to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're probably a good 40 yards or so, and if you
don't want to go wading through
have
that.
trouble making it through the water. I don't want to try to make it through the water
Right.
myself. But he's okay. Yeah, he's at the driver's door. We can. Let's see if we can make it through this.
He's probably
parking
using
lot.
the flashlight
It just doesn't look good.
on the phone if the phone is still dry.
Yeah, Adrian, do you want to try to? Yeah. Okay, we're going to try. Let's see what direction he's going. We're going to try to make our way. Goodness.
Yeah, be careful, Keith. I mean, it's not. I mean, if you can yell at him and see if he's willing to chat, or simply ask if he needs help.
I bet he's headed to that center to the left. Yeah, he's headed to that parking lot in that strip center.
Yeah, he's going into that parking lot. Adrian, you want to get off the sticks and we'll try to make our way over here and see if he could be too embarrassed to talk to us. We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Or he may not be in the best mood to talk to us because he just lost
We'll let
his
you vet him before we go.
So,
Hey, as you make your way over there, Keith, I do wonder, can you tell, is the water in that area, is it still rising? Do you feel like it's staying at the same level or maybe even going down a little bit? Can you even tell?
It doesn't look like it's rising anymore. And as a matter of fact, if you remember that food truck I showed you, they were able to drive out of the water a little bit. But I also think they're safe now because the water receded a little bit on that side. So we're walking through. This is a bank parking lot.
All right. That's that SUV that you said parked there.
Find the individual. If you can see there, that car, that's where the individual came out of, that small SUV. And you see the parking lot here at this bank and the shopping center. And we're going to come around the corner. And I think our man is gone, or he made it inside somewhere. And so, what, you see him? Possibly on the sidewalk. Okay, I think we can make it across the parking lot right here. Go on this journey with us. We thank you all for checking in and following us. Here we are in this one
are any stores open
shopping center. There's an individual outside a smoke shop. Sir, do you own this? Are you a worker? Are you an employee? No, I don't work. You don't work here at all? I just went to the store. Okay, gotcha. Okay, you were inside as a customer? No, just hanging out.
Are one of those his
let's
car?
talk to him real quick.
Maybe one of those.
When did you see things were getting bad when you were over here?
8:30.
Hope you guys can hear me. About 8:30?
8:30 started getting bad.
Let's move my microphone so you guys can hear him a little better. What's your name, by the way, sir?
Ruby.
Ruby? Okay, and so you said about 8:30 is when you noticed things started getting bad around here.
Getting bad, very, very, very bad. Now the cars are coming in, they're coming inside. So I'm just waiting till they get a little better so I can get out.
Now, did you see any of these vehicles get stuck?
One of them I just see. The guy was just coming and just put it in.
Yeah, that one we saw as well.
Yeah.
Now, when you saw him barreling down the street when he made that turn and then he got stuck, what was going through your mind? Did you think he was going to make it?
No, 100% not. Because a lot of water.
A lot of water.
Cannot make it.
Do you frequent this area? Do you know this area pretty well?
Oh yeah.
So you know it's pretty flood prone for the most part.
All the time. All the time. Whenever the water's, whenever the rains, it gets flooded all the time. All the time, nonstop.
Hey, your vehicle right now is it's here in this parking lot?
Yeah, right there.
Okay, very good. And you're just going to wait it out as long as you can?
I'm going to go to the bank, so it's easy. See, now he's going to the bank. It's clear.
Yeah. It's clearer than the road. I don't know if it's still a good amount of water. You feel like you're going to test it or try it?
No. He can go. He can go easy.
Okay.
You can go easy. If you go from there, you can go easy because my store is there, so I know that.
Oh, is he saying going from the bank to the feeder road?
Because the reason is very easy to go. It can go wrong, unless you want to put yourself in the water. That's a different story.
Oh yeah, definitely don't want to do that. Okay. Well, whenever you decide to leave, please be careful. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Ruby, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You guys here? You as well. Thank you. Thank you so much. So you all heard from Ruby. comes to frequent, possibly works in this area. Don't know exactly for sure, but he's here. He has his vehicle in this parking lot here. Again, about the 10,400 block of West Belfort, right off the Southwest Freeway. He feels confident that the water is going to recede enough in the next few minutes to be able to make it out of here. And so, again, Adrian, if you pan over here, it looks like it's I'm not great with colors, but it's a type of blue SUV. That's the one that just got stuck. And now we have...
Look at all the junk in the parking lot there, Keith.
Responders.
Washed up, too.
Oh, Houston Fire, high water rescue. Okay.
There we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. We have them coming through. How you doing, guys? Have you had to rescue anybody? Oh, you have some in there. How many? How many? Okay, about 8 people. Oh, just from around this area? Okay. Where are you taking them to? He's taking on Wilcrest. Okay. All right. So wow. So Houston Fire High Water Rescue. See a number of firefighters there, and he tells us that in the back of that truck, they have about 8 people that they've had to rescue. So we do know, we can confirm that some high water rescues have taken place.
And when we spoke
and obviously this is about the. Oh, go ahead, Dominique.
No, I was just going to say, when we spoke with Mayor Turner, he mentioned at least 16 high water rescues, and that was about 10-15 minutes ago.
Okay, well, these are there were 8 individuals. Don't know if they came from a couple of the same vehicles or not, but there are 8 individuals in the back of that vehicle, Houston Fire, rescuing them, and they're taking them to a location on Wilcrest so they can hopefully be reunited with the family and have some people come and pick them up.
All right, Keith, hang tight.
Yeah, just came down this road.
Hang tight, because we understand Jacob is not far from you, and he has the same situation that you just saw, somebody driving through the water. We're going to switch over our live shots real quick. Jacob?
So in this case, this is a truck, so it looks like he's now able to back up. He was really struggling. Oh, okay, let's see. The water is really deep here, guys. I mean, we've had like 10 or 11 cars that we've seen stuck. Let's see if he'll make it.
Yeah, you're not far from the station. You're right at Bissonnette at Fondren, so you're just a little bit northeast of us.
Right, Wilcrest and Belfort, I think is.
Oh, you're at Wilcrest and Belfort. Okay,
closest
then
intersection.
I tell you what, some
we
people
did.
are
So
just
we moved just a little
to get
bit
around in this water, aren't they?
It's amazing, isn't it?
You know, we just hit that car.
Right, exactly.
See, there's a stalled white car. You see right next to it? Mm-hmm. Well, now we've got proof.
And he's going to keep going.
So I count. Let's see. It looks like he's going to get out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Swing over here, Brett. Some people just need to get across. We've talked to people who just need to get home. Look over at the other side, Brett. Those people waiting over there. There's some people who they want to get home. The whole area here is blocked off. If you go to the right, you'll see a truck that's trying to pull an SUV out. If you keep going, you'll see that the whole intersection is done. You keep going and you see the tow trucks that are there just waiting for the next people who will go in.
And you're just south of Highway 59,
and then
correct?
in this parking, let's see, where's Highway 59 from where I am? I think Highway 59 is just past Wilcrest, which means that we're just several blocks from Keith.
Right.
We keep moving along Wilcrest.
Yes, because he's at Belfort at 59.
Right. Well, I'm surprised that the truck made it through. Whoa, wait, hold on. He still hasn't made it through. Brett, let's go back over here to the truck. So he's still there. There was a point when he stopped completely.
Well, and here's another one coming at you.
I keep calling him a he. I'm not actually sure who's driving.
Oh, yeah, he's in reverse.
Yeah, this
going
is
in reverse.
the same pickup truck. Yeah.
How many cars do you see stalled out where you are?
It looked like he was. Yeah, so I was counting earlier. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I'm going to count the 2 cars I saw pulled off by tow trucks. 12, 13
total
at this location.
Have you talked to anybody, Jacob, who's standing around over there in that parking lot of that shopping center across the street? Do we have any idea of how quickly this water came up?
So I talked to one woman who, she only spoke Spanish, and she said she just wanted to get her friend on the other side. Let's talk to these people. Brett, if you'll swing over and look at these people walking across. I think people at this point probably just want to get home. I'm not sure though. Let's not assume. Let's see if they want to say something here. This is the Futurama grocery store to my right. And then you can see the payday and title loans.
Where's he headed?
Excuse me, sir. We're live on Channel 2. How you doing? Looks like you're carrying, uh-oh. You got your flip? You see?
Yeah, be
careful.
careful,
Watch out where
Jacob.
you're walking.
Yep.
It's just a curb that I tripped on. I think you probably tripped on it too. So where are you headed? What's going on tonight?
Oh, we're going to our home. We went here to drop our friend.
Yeah? And
it's crazy. It's crazy out here.
Did you stall out?
No, we good.
Oh, good. But you're walking because you have to get to the other side.
Yes.
And where are you coming from?
Oh, we're coming from Highway 6 by West Airport.
Whoa. Why are you walking so far? You just
We
walked.
had to drop our friend here because she was at our house.
Do you want to put her down?
No, I'm gonna just take her.
You're just gonna take her?
Yeah.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
Are you a friend here?
He's my brother.
He's your brother?
Yeah.
What a good brother. What's your name?
Takir.
Takir? And your name?
Shanzi.
And where are you guys from? You from Houston?
Yes.
Are you from this area? Have you seen it like this before?
We used to live here, so we just moved there recently by West Airport, like 3 days ago.
How long have you been in this specific area? Have you seen the water come up and go down?
Yeah, it's been happening before. When there was Harvey, it happened at that time. It was the same situation, so we've been here before.
We're on live with Dominique and Chris. We just want to point out what a good brother we've got here.
Seriously.
It's be burning here in a minute.
He gets a pat on the back for sure.
Thank you
and
so
a good
much.
workout.
No problem.
That's right. What's up, guys? Don't try to go through. We'll watch, but we'll probably watch you just get stalled out. He said, watch me go through.
Oh, boy.
We don't want to encourage that.
There's one in every crowd, huh?
But if he's going to go, we'll watch him get rescued. All right, now we've got 3 tow trucks. I'm going to see tonight. Hey, we're live on Channel 2. How many cars rescued tonight?
None. They don't want to pay.
They don't want to pay. Okay. How many cars have you seen stalled out tonight?
Oh, by hundreds of cars. A lot of cars.
Hundreds of cars. Oh, it's a lot.
Yeah, but they don't want to pay, so.
They don't want to pay, so you just leave them there.
Yeah.
How much does it cost if you stall your car? How much does it cost to get it back if you tow it?
Maybe $100,
100.
80, 85 bucks, you know. Not too much. Just to pull them out the street.
Yeah, pull them out.
Yeah.
People don't want to pay.
Yeah, people don't. They waiting for the insurance.
Waiting for insurance.
Yeah.
All right. What's your name?
Raul.
How long you been doing this, Raul?
11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
So how bad is this in this intersection? You see this?
Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Every year happens. Yeah.
Why don't people stop?
Because some people are want to do an insurance scam. You know what I'm saying? So they want to ruin
They
the car.
drive straight in on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. Yeah.
All right. That's unverified.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. All right.
But you know.
All right, Ruel.
All right.
You have a good night. All right, so he's taken off. He says he hasn't done much. People won't pay. Hundreds of cars. I don't know about that. He might have just been throwing out a number. But I mean, I wouldn't doubt that dozens just at this intersection. Mm-hmm. I don't know since when. I mean, we just got here, but this has been flooded for a long time. By the way, Brett, if you'll go over to the left, that truck is still there. I think he might be stranded over there. I'm not sure. We kind of took our eyes out for a little. Oh no,
Yep,
the car's
brake
back
lights
on.
are on.
So we're not sure. We can come back. Oh, let's go over here, Brett. They have just pulled the SUV out. So they've been working on that since we got here, 30 minutes ago or so, and they just pulled it out. So
yeah.
Success.
They got their
success
hood
story
up.
there. All right, Chris and Dominique, back over to you.
All right,
Man.
Jacob, impressive pictures over where you are. Again, the southwest part of town. That's what Mayor Turner was telling us. That's where, you know, you got that Keegan's Bayou there. and has overrun its banks, and then this is what you're left with.
Sure, and these are areas prone to flooding. Willcrest at Belfort, which is where Jacob Rascone is located. Keith Garvin is at Belfort and Highway 59, so the common thread is Belfort, and we see this time and time again, people even talking about that particular situation, that they've seen water rise there multiple times. We've seen people drive through. Interesting conversation with the tow truck driver who said that nobody's paid him to get out of there, and people are driving in for insurance, which is a whole other story, beyond tonight.
Right.
But at any rate, we're dealing with high water. We're dealing with high water rescue strictly from vehicles, not from homes or properties.
Right.
We haven't had any reports of that. The rain bands that are coming in, and we'll be checking in with Frank in just a little bit, but we have all that feeder band activity.
Yeah, it's training rain bands, right?
Right,
One
coming
after
in.
another.
Yeah, and at least we're getting a little bit of a break in between some
Sure.
of those, so it's not like this giant ball of rainfall.
Right.
So hopefully some areas will be able to recede,
Right.
and we can get these vehicles out.
Yeah, we do have some video that we want to show you. This is coming from the southwest part of town again. This is the intersection of, what's this, Bissonnet, I believe, and Fondren.
Yes.
That's where some heavy rains have left, again, street flooding, even leaving a van stalled out in the middle of the road there. And you see that Jeep there just trying to make its way through the water.
And more video from flooding out of Southwest Houston again. You see, we keep talking about Southwest Houston. This time it is at the corner of West Belfort Avenue and the Southwest Freeway. That's where our Keith Garvin has been stationed tonight, where we have seen somebody actually drive into that water, get stalled live on air, and have to get out and walk to the curb. Multiple cars completely flooded out. Barricades are being set up. This as more rain continues to move into the area. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
At last time we checked in with you, Frank, you said that Beta specifically was still about 5 miles off the coast.
Yes.
Where is Beta now?
I'm going to show you.
Okay.
In
All
fact,
right. He said his computer.
we were going to go to a commercial, and then all of a sudden,
I know, and all of a sudden it's your turn.
Okay, you know what? It made a landfall. I'm just reading this off the National Hurricane Center.
Oh, okay.
And at 10 p.m., they went back and looked at 10 p.m. surface observations, and the landfall occurred at 10 p.m. on the southern end of Matagorda Bay Peninsula.
Okay.
So,
10 p.m.
10 p.m.
We'll talk all about that. I wanted to show you this. This is interesting, guys, because this is Ludington and Chimney Rock. David Waddell sent me this, and he said that his neighbor has flooded here 20 times.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, how about that? Okay, some little business here. Willow Waterhole at Westbury crested and is falling. That's good news. Brays Bayou crested within its banks at Gessner and Rice. Now, there's still some high water. Clear Creek at Pearland Parkway's top of bank. Clear Creek, Bayer Boulevard, and Lake City are also top of bank. So we'll continue to watch that. Brookside Village picked up 7 inches of rain. So did Pearland. They're fairly close to each other. Westbury, almost that, 6.88. Meyerland, almost 5. Sugarland, 3.36. And Mission Bend, 5 inches of rain. Those are the heaviest that we've been able to find. Flash flood warning until 11:30. And really, I've got good news on this because in the last hour, most of these areas haven't received much rain at all. Maybe a tenth of an inch. That's been it. There are a couple of issues down here. Flash flood warning until 1 a.m. down in Brazoria, parts of Wharton County, and even into Jackson County, an aerial flood advisory until 12:45. You folks have had anywhere between 2 and 3 inches of rain, and there's still more coming, at least another inch or so. So an advisory that there could be some flooding, and there is some flash flooding there in the Wharton County area. So be careful there. In the meantime, here's the wider picture. This is why I say I have some good news. So this is the line that was coming in here, and that's produced all of that rain that Jacob and Keith have been showing us. But look where that line went. It pushed off to the north into Chambers County. So that is continuing to push up to the north, not over where we already had some serious issues. So that is certainly good news. And if you look back here, it's actually becoming a little less solid. So that's always encouraging. And now that the system is actually right there That's the center, believe it or not, in the middle of Matagorda Bay, and that's wrapping around it. So it crossed right there, and it's right here. And I'm going to show you the track in a minute, but it's going to be interesting as we go through. I wanted to point this out. There's what I'm saying, that good news here. There's still some light rain, but nothing like we saw. And there's the line that's to the north of it. So we're not going to see a training effect right over the same place, at least not anytime soon. So that's good. 5 to 7, 4 to 6 inches, 4 to 5 down south. North of I-10, an inch to a half an inch has been it. So if you get some of this rain coming in, you should be okay. Keegan's Bayou at Rourke and Keegan, still flood warnings until further notice. So is Willow Waterhole at Lansdowne and Clear Creek at League City until further notice also. A little wider view there. And you can see that's what I'm talking about as far as that line coming up here and missing Pearland and League City and all the way up toward the Katy area. And this is the other line we've been watching that wants to push in toward Wharton County. It's beginning to thin a little bit too. Now that this is sort of getting on land, like I say, it's over Matagorda Bay, but it's sort of getting on land, and it's going to lose a little of its punch at least. I was putting this together when y'all were yelling my name. But this is the... But hey, I got it put together. I know. Okay, so that landfall was 10 p.m. on the southern end of Matagorda Bay Peninsula, right there. And now it's sitting here. So this was at 10 o'clock, and now at 11 o'clock. We got an 11 o'clock advisory. How about that? 45 mile an hour winds continuing. 60 mile an hour gusts moving northwest at 3. But notice the hurricane track from the National Weather Service. It doesn't do much northwest. In fact, it's going to start pulling off by tomorrow afternoon off to the northeast and then continuing northeast on toward Louisiana. So I'm going to go closer in here and take all those icons off so you can see this. So there it is right now in Matagorda Bay. It pushes across Matagorda County, Brazoria County, Galveston Island, and continues. So this is 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 7 a.m. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Wednesday. That's still through tomorrow that we're going to have to watch this as it continues to push on through. The consensus model, by the way, that I keep showing you is exactly the same track as the National Hurricane Center. They like that model clearly, and you got to follow one, so you might as well take the consensus of all of the spaghetti models, and that's how you get that. So it's in Matagorda Bay right now. It's going to continue to push across the coastal counties, and then it'll move on toward Louisiana. But as it does that, what's going to happen? And that's just like tonight, what's going to happen? A feeder band is certainly a possibility. So this doesn't initialize it quite over the bay, but it does a pretty good job. This is the HRRR. So you can see more feeder bands are possible to pull into the Houston area. This is 9:15 tomorrow. The center would be right about here. Continuing into tomorrow afternoon, looks like feeder bands want to go more into Chambers County. And then as we go toward 9 o'clock, we still have the potential for that draw as long as that system is out there. It just doesn't take much. Tropical Storm Allison was just a minimal tropical storm and did all of that. Imelda, minimal tropical storm. Even Harvey, I know it roared ashore into Rockport as a 130 mile an hour hurricane, but once it got to Victoria and started just sitting here, it was just a 40 mile an hour storm. I mean, just, it wasn't anything to it. So these little 40 mile an hour storms can cause tremendous amounts of rain. I think we're just going to have to put our guard up. There's still the flash flood watch through tomorrow evening. That could always be extended, but it's at least through all day tomorrow. And I know we've already had a lot of heavy rain. So far, this has been sort of accurate. 3 to 5 inches is probably a little much for north of I-10, but 5 to 7 south of I-10, 10 to 15 inches isolated, still a possibility depending on these feeder bands. So obviously with the system pushing right across the coast, the most vulnerable are going to be those ahead of it as it tries to pull in any rains off the Gulf. So we'll be here with you and just going to have to watch it. This high is what directed it into Matagorda, and now it's faded. So there are no steering currents for this system until we get to Wednesday. So it's really just going to drift around here through tomorrow, and then it gets picked up on Wednesday by the jet stream and this trough of low pressure that's going to come in. That gets it out of here by Wednesday night and into Thursday. So power plant is pretty obvious. Rain is in the forecast all day tomorrow. From the low 60s to the upper 70s, it'll be at least rain-cooled air. Here's some good news. I mean, we do get out of this, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're on the dry side. A little front Sunday brings a slight chance for a shower, and then a second front, which is a bona fide cold front. It's going to drop us from 88 Tuesday to 80 on Wednesday and Thursday with lows right there in the mid-60s. So I think about then we're getting toward the end of the month and into October.
About time.
I know.
Oh.
I think spring is tomorrow. I mean, fall is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're 40 minutes away.
We're getting there. Let's get Beta out of here.
Yes.
All right, let's go back to our Jacob Rascone. Again, he's on the southwest side of the city, near the Keegan's Bayou that has overrun its banks. And Jacob, you've been talking to people in that area tonight.
Yeah. Hey, if you can hear me, what you're looking at is a group of diesel truck owners who goes around rescuing people. And then this guy in the canoe. Let's go, Brett, to our friend in the canoe here. There in the middle. So right after we left you guys, another SUV tried to make it into the center and didn't make it. And then this diesel truck group showed up and said they had a Facebook group and they were trying to rescue people. I told them that our friend in the white SUV didn't make it. And so they said, we're on it. I didn't tell them to go in, but they said, look, this is what we do. We're on it. So you got the 3 trucks over there. And they're going toward this white SUV. They look like they're higher because they are. They figured out where the median was, and so they're driving on the median. The street is much deeper. Also, the trucks are very, very high. And they're going to try to make it, and they've just made it actually, to the white SUV, and they'll try to take the person out of the SUV. We don't recommend this, but this is what the group does. They've got a Facebook group, and they've been doing this, I think, for a while. We've talked to also a couple other people who's, oh look, can you see the guy in the kayak, Brett, down there? I don't know if he's working with them, but they mentioned they had a kayaker. Dominique and Chris, I don't know if you've seen this kind of thing before.
No.
I've never seen it in person.
Not a civilian effort like that. Yeah, and it's tricky because with these vehicles, if they are too far submerged, the water pressure makes it difficult for the ability to open the door. And then if your car is trashed, then you have no electrical system for electrical windows. So it's problematic in trying to get people out of vehicles. But it's the first time I've seen.
Are these
group.
guys, are they driving, standing up like this, Jacob, or is someone?
Correct. I don't know the strategy, but all of them, they have they checked where the median was. They open their doors, they put their foot down, they put it up, they drive, and they stay like that. I warned them that right where that SUV is, the white one, right before it, there's a big dip because that's what happened to the truck.
Yeah, watch.
And the white SUV. There's something that you can't see there.
Where do you think they're headed?
They either got the person. If I can tell what, Dominique, I'm sorry?
Where they're headed, what they're trying to rescue.
So they stopped right in front of the white SUV. I don't know what the person in there told them, but now they're still going. And oh man, it's floated as far as you can see.
Yeah.
No, they've moved past. I guess whoever in there doesn't need the help that they thought that they needed. Brett, if you walk over just a little bit this way, can you see the 2 men over there now trying to look like they were trying to push their SUV? I mean, this is the risk that you take when you drive into water like this, and some people probably don't see where they're going, and really just don't know
what are these guys doing,
into.
Jacob? It looks like Brett's zoomed in on a couple guys, and they're standing in front of their vehicle. One of them is
correct,
almost lying down in the water. I don't know if he's trying to hook something up underneath.
So earlier they were trying to push the car. It doesn't look like they're doing that now, so I'm not actually sure what they're doing. Excuse me. Hear me. You guys all right? What are you guys doing? You're what? Oh, they're hooking up the car because there's there's a bigger truck.
Yeah, he's having a feel.
Yeah, they're gonna. Okay, so he's going underneath because that's of course where you hook it up.
Yep.
And this is not a small car. I think this is either an SUV or a truck. We watched this happen too. This was before we even went on the air. Geez, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are several more since we got here. But we say turn around, don't drown, and that sometimes happens. But more often, you don't turn around and you just get stuck for hours and hours and hours. You have to try to figure out how to get out. You'd have to try to figure out how to get home, call a tow truck, do other stuff like that. That's what we see most often.
Yeah, because usually people can't gauge how high the water is, and once they realize how far they've gone, and then they kick it in reverse, that engine has just taken on too much water, and that's it. You are stuck. And that's what we're seeing here.
Right.
Nobody is in those vehicles, is right, Jacob?
You know,
do you know?
I know that nobody's in the gray one. I thought somebody was still in that truck in the white SUV, but I'm not sure anymore. But the people on the big diesel trucks, that's what they went to go do and check. Either if there was somebody in there, if they wanted to get out, they were going to help them. And if they didn't want help or they were waiting or for whatever reason, they were going to leave them there. So they checked, and I'm not sure what they found.
Right, and there's the guy who, in the black truck that tried to barrel his way through there. It looks like back behind that.
Oh, there he is.
That water is a neighborhood. Is that right, Jacob? Are those homes back there?
It is. Yeah, there are homes back there, and as far as I can tell, the water's only gotten up to the driveway of that first and second home, and so no homes have been flooded here that I can tell.
So there's a large esplanade in the middle of the road, and that's what those bigger trucks were driving on?
Right. There's and they were very, you know, you could tell that they had done this before, and they were careful to make sure and drive on the median.
I think Jacob may be getting too far away from the camera.
Yeah,
and we're losing
that
signal between his microphone and the camera. But you can see that's the guy in the...
Oh, there he is. He's back. Jacob, what's that fencing where you are?
So behind the fencing, there are a number of construction vehicles here. There's some construction going on nearby in the intersection, and and this is where the vehicles were. So I went over, I checked, there's a guy in another truck. I thought he was part of the diesel group, but he's not. Man, geez. And they'll be here for hours more. Back to you.
Is there anybody around you? How are those guys doing in getting that car hooked up? Oh, it looks like they're getting it moved, Jacob.
Oh, they got it. Yeah. This is a Honda SUV.
Yeah.
So not a small car.
They got it hooked up and moving out.
Yeah, what a mess back there, huh?
Incredible. There's a shopping cart, cars stalled, construction to Jacob's left. The median of the road there where all the signs are, and just cars littered about in what looks like a lake at the moment. And this is simply a Houston street.
Brett, if you can turn around, let's look at this truck. He's deciding whether or not to go. Oh, he's backing up. Maybe he doesn't like that the camera's on. He was deciding whether to go. He could probably make it because other trucks like that made it, but he's probably going to go.
We'll see.
But even you know, like I said, the ones that went in and they tried to rescue, they knew that even in those giant trucks, they would only be able to make it if they were driving on the median. I talked to somebody else here who paid to have his car picked up. He paid the $100 to have his car picked up. It was a Mustang.
The tow truck driver?
It was a newer Mustang. Yeah, but he's gone. Looks like he's gone. All right, let's see if we can talk to him and see what's going on in his mind here.
Okay.
No. So going through your mind, you're deciding whether or not to go.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to go to the other side.
You're trying to go to the other side. Yeah. What's on the other side?
I'm only going.
You just drive.
Yeah.
You are driving around for fun.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What if you get stuck? Worth it?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to talk. He wants me to go away.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Yeah.
Hey,
all right, guys, back to you guys.
Thank you, Jacob. We got about, 45 seconds or so, Frank, in this show, and just kind of give us an update.
You know, pretty good news here. You can see everything has really got a little gappy around the area, so we still have these bands that are moving in. Nothing on the dark red like we saw all evening. You can see this line that was headed at one time right where we had the flooding issues is now to the north, and you can handle that rain up there. Showers continue to pull into parts of Jackson and Wharton County, so be careful there. We do still have at least a few flood issues. Keegan's Bayou at Work and Keegan, Willow Waterhole at Lansdowne, Clear Creek at League City. So it is, as we have seen from both Keith and Jacob, it's dangerous driving out there, so be careful.
Okay, Frank, thank you very much. A little housekeeping before we go. Our morning newscast will start a little bit earlier tomorrow morning, and Channel 2 News Today begins at 4 a.m.
Be safe, stay dry, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a good night.